Our next guest is Cindy Sheehan, activist vice presidential candidate of the Peace and Freedom Party. Cindy Sheehan's Soapbox is an independent online radio show and blog that strives to be completely free from establishment political ideology and focus on a message of peace, justice, environmental sustainability, and economic equality. Cindy Sheehan joins us by phone this morning to talk about an event coming up Monday, September 3rd at 10 a.m. That's Labor Day. A Labor Day Chevron press conference and rally called Enough is Enough. Nationalize Chevron under worker community control and prosecute the criminals running this out-of-control empire. It's an assembly at Point Richmond in Washington Park, at Cutting and Garrard Boulevard in Richmond, California. There will be a march to Chevron's gate on Castro at Redwood Way near the 580 Marina Street exit. You can learn more about this at upwa.info, upwa.info. Cindy Sheehan, are you with us?
I am, Mickey. Good morning.
Good morning, Cindy Sheehan. Thanks so much for joining us. Tell us what's going on here this Monday, particularly in the light of the recent fiasco and debacle at the Chevron refinery in Richmond, California.
Well, you said that you gave the technical details of the march. We are getting some great community response, and so I think we're going to have a really great march and rally there. But, of course, this is about the third disaster that Chevron has had in the past 12 years. So it really, their refineries are not maintained properly. It's one of the largest corporations in the entire world, and they don't make sure that the community and their workers are protected. So that's what we're going to be calling for. And the Peace and Freedom Party, if we had a government that included revolutionary socialists, the oil industry would be nationalized and brought under the democratic control of the workers and the community. And, of course, workers and community have a personal interest in making things safe. And not only that, but we have to go beyond the safety or lack thereof in the in the oil industry. We've had a lot of disasters in recent years around the world where these people the oil industry has not been held accountable for what's going on. Their assets should be used to clean up the environment, to make their equipment safe, but also to investigate clean and sustainable, not investigate, but promote and build an energy production and use that is clean and sustainable. So that's what we'll be calling for this Monday when we march, and joining members of the community who have been so hurt. I mean, Richmond has one of the highest incidences of childhood asthma and other kind of environmental diseases. And it's part of the toxic triangle, too, of course, in the Bay Area that includes Bayview, Hunters Point, and Oakland. So, I mean, the entire region needs to be looked at and cleaned up. And the companies that have despoiled and poisoned our environment need to be held accountable.
Oh, hello, Cindy. This is Peter Phillips.
Hey, Peter.
Good to have you on. And you're really calling for the nationalization of Chevron and saying that they're criminals, that they're destroying the environment, they're too big, and that we need to prosecute the people who perpetrated this. Is that correct?
Oh, that's absolutely correct. And, I think the oil industry would be, and not just Chevron, particularly for this Monday, we're calling on that for Chevron. But look at what BP did in the Gulf of Mexico, and they had to put up a $20 billion trust fund to help pay expenses, but they have been guarding that jealously and haven't even given out that money. And so it's just a drop in the bucket. So this industry does need to be nationalized. It needs, like I said, to be put under the democratic control of the workers and the people in the communities to protect our children and our communities. And any kind of non-capitalist country, that would be the first thing that would happen when these disasters occur, and they occur over and over and over again. So that's what we're calling for, yes, and accountability. I mean, accountability from the top down is just not happening. Obama's Department of Justice is protecting criminals like this. So of course, we need accountability from the top down.
Well, this is one big step, to bring forward these ideas of global democracy, transparency from these giant corporations worldwide, and to ask our government to be more aware of and controlling these entities. And certainly we applaud your efforts in that area.
Well, and then we would also call for, a further step in the nationalization of the Federal Reserve and the banking industry, and, to make all of these, public commons. Energy is a public commons. It doesn't belong to a few people who, have had a monopoly on our resources. And not only is it a problem for our local communities, but of course it's a global problem when we talk about the geopolitics of oil and natural gas and petroleum. So we have to really take a hard look, and we're not just calling for environmental protection and cleanup, but we're calling to use the resources of these companies to also extend public transportation, to make that more available, so we can wean ourselves off of fossil fuels. It's bad for the economy, it's bad for war and peace, and it's certainly bad for the environment. So we really have to be more proactive, but not just like do what we usually do here and fret about it when the last drop of oil gets pumped, but start promoting it now and expanding these kinds of things right now.
We're speaking with Cindy Sheehan, who will be speaking at a Labor Day Chevron press conference rally. Enough is enough. Nationalize Chevron under worker community control and prosecute the criminals running this out-of-control empire. The assembly is at Point Richmond, Washington Park, West Cutting, and South Girard Boulevard in Richmond, California. There will be a march to Chevron's gate at Castro at Redway near the Marine Street exit on 580. Learn more at upwa.info. Cindy Sheehan, vice presidential candidate for the Peace and Freedom Party, will be speaking there, and thank you for joining us this morning, Cindy.
Oh, thank you, and more information about these kinds of things can also be found at my blog, cindysheehansoapbox.com.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us. And
nice to talking to you guys. Thank you.
You too. Cindy will also be joining John Burris, Bishop Andre Jackson, and several others. So there are several speakers coming up here.